Are we live? Are we live? Let's make sure we are live. Let's make sure we are live this fine, beautiful morning. Hello, hello, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Mm, mm. That's that good stuff right there. Drink that orange juice real quick. Woo! It's a good thing for the morning right there. Oh, yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hold on one second. Gotta just take care of some stuff here. Let's make sure we're live on the UbiTubes. Let's make sure we're live on the UbiTubes, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday. Hope you guys are making lots and lots of money. Money, 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 money. Money, money. Yes, sir. All right. One second here. All right. Oh, let me just fix the little glitchy real quick. One second. There we go. Just gotta fix the glitchy. All right. All right. All right. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. All right. All right. All right. And EDBL seems to be moving as well. Okay. So we got LGHL, which ran up a nice 267%, and EDBL, which is currently run up a nice 160%. Pulled back a little bit, obviously, but it has moved its way on up there. So we're going to keep an eye on that right there. There we go. There we go. Hold on one second. BIYA. All right. All right. There we are. There we are. Boom. Let's make sure everything's good and copacetic. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a look at LGHL right now. LGHL ran up a nice high of 267%. We called it earlier in the Discord right there. We called it earlier this morning. LGHL, we actually called it at about, ooh, yes, 4:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That was when we called it. All right. So you got that going on right there. And believe it or not, we actually called it. We actually called it also on Thursday, the 23rd, but that was a while ago. So I'll say that we also called it this morning as well at 4:11, but we did call all the way back on the 23rd. So there's that. We did, call the stock early in the morning at a nice at 4:11 a.m. Yeesh. So that's what we got going on for LGHL. It ran up a nice high of 267%. Called it at 24% this morning, prior to that 267% run that it had early this morning. It went up pretty well. Just saying. You know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Hold on. Let me fix the. Let me get my thumbnail. Hold on one second. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. One second. Just gotta get everything all set up over here. But yes, so LGHL ran up a nice 267%. 267% right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Today is the 27th of July. Today is the 27th of July, ladies and gentlemen. So you got that going on. Hold on. Right there. Hold on one second. One second. All right. All right, all right, all right. It's actually Shark Week, too, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It's Shark Week. Yeesh. Can never go wrong with Shark Week. I like watching Shark Week. Who likes watching Shark Week, ladies and gentlemen? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I like watching me some Shark Week. Last week was Comic-Con, right? You know, that was pretty cool. I was actually legit excited for that one. But, hold on one second. Can never go wrong with some Comic-Con. Hold on one second. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right. But yeah, no, it's Shark Week, and I've been waiting for this, actually. I'm not going to hold you. I've been waiting for Shark Week. I'm not going to lie. Shark Week is a good time. Granted, you won't catch me in the ocean, ever. But Shark Week is always a good time to just chill. But you're not you'll catch me on the beach, like on the sand, just chilling. You're not going to catch me in the ocean. You'll catch me doing that. But by the way, did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that there are baby sharks, and no, not the song, baby sharks that basically swim around, like on the very shallow end of the water, right? What? Oh, let me check and make sure I'm live. Hold on. Let's make sure we should be. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. No, we're good. We're good. We're good. Okay. You scared me. You scared me, Coach. You scared me.
Sorry.
You scared me.
Sorry.
Man. You really did. You scared me. You scared the doubles. You scared the doubles. Hold on one second. Let me just put this up over here. Let me just put this up over here, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Bobo Beef says, howdy. Howdy, Bobo. He says, I'm hearing your Lima Charlie. Copy that, Bobo. Yes, sir. Happy Monday, Bobo. Happy Shark Week. It's Shark Week all week. And I'm going to be doing something a little different today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be doing something a little different today. You know what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be having tacos for dinner today. I know. Not on Taco Tuesday. I know. But you know, we got the taco supplies now, all right? And you know, we got the ground beef, right? Now the thing is, the ground beef, or like, you know what? We might as well have it now. All right? I mean, hey, look, I couldn't wait. Man. All right? We didn't. My Taco Tuesday clock has been off because I had tacos on Wednesday instead of Tuesday. Last week. I'm sorry. All right, you know. I know it's scandalous. I know. Marty says, "Good morning, Banger Nation. Hello, Doubles and Bobo. Hello, Marty. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are having a wonderful morning. I hope you are having a wonderful Monday. Monday. All right. But yes, let me just get this over here real quick. All right. Let me just get this over here, and we should be good. Hold on. Boom. Right there. Just get the announcements out for this right here. Let me get the announcements out real quick. Because it didn't do the auto post to the Discord there. Bobo Beef says, "What's up to Marty?" Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Ooh. All right. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I've just been chilling like a villain. You know how it is. How was you guys' weekend, by the way? Put it in the chat. Legal says, "Good morning, Double." Good morning, Legal. Good morning. Well, yeah. I got to just chill, man. I got to play a new horror game that actually recently came out. Like it was in beta testing, uh, for for people for free, but then they released the full game. And the premise is actually very interesting, right? So basically, while I'm setting everything up, I'm setting everything up right now. So, let me talk to you, ladies and gentlemen. But basically, it's a horror game, right? And the horror game is like you have two types of people, right? In the horror game, you have regular people and you have doppelgangers, right? And your job is to spot inconsistencies between the doppelganger and and a regular person, right? So it's like a little apocalyptic scenario there. It's kind of fun. It's kind of, well, it's not fun for them. And Nick says, "Good morning, doubles. Good morning, Nick." Right? And basically, you have to kind of find out who's an imposter, who's not an imposter, type of deal, right? And you do it by basically scanning the ID, asking these people questions, right? Making sure they are who they say they are, scanning them with certain items to make sure that they are not, you know, evil entities. Because here's the thing: if you let one of those evil entities leave your building, right? If it's a normal person, you let them scan their items in the little convenience store and you let them go on their way. If not, and they're an imposter, you literally just you gotta take them out. You gotta take them out before they go out there and alert the evil entity. And if the evil entity is like a fleshy giant spider creature that crawls into the place and just starts chasing after you, and you gotta like take it out, and then you gotta scare it away. You gotta make it run away. You gotta use traps, all sorts of cool stuff like that to combat the entity and to combat the entity's evil doppelganger forces. It's kind of really cool. It's kind of dope because in one hand you're running the convenience store. Hi, sir. Hi, sir. Let me ring you up real quick. Let me just ring you up real quick. Hold on, just 1 second. Oh my God, there's a skinwalker out in the back. Hold on, sir. Give me just 1 second. Give me 1 second. Whee! Boom, 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 boom. Get the heck out of here. And then you come backside. I'm so sorry, sir. It's so funny. I put on the customer service voice and then and it's like as soon as I go out there to deal with the big bad that's trying to sneak into the back of the area, it's get the heck out my damn property. Get away from my property. What you doing over here? My friends were dying because they were listening to me just act like an absolute whack job. It was hilarious. I loved it. But it's also co-op, so it was very fun. It was very, very fun. I had a good time with it. I'm just getting everything all set up here. But yes, I had a great time with that. It's like, what is it? What was that movie? Like the one where there's like imposters and stuff. Like sometimes the imposters like replace people. Other times they just duplicate themselves and try to pass themselves off as a person, or even a vehicle, or an inanimate object. It could be anything. It's like that old Gmod game. For those of you who don't know, it's called Scavenger Hunt, where you literally have people disguising themselves as anything or anyone and trying to blend in. And meanwhile, there's like a hunter who kind of has to figure out who's not an inanimate object and who's like disguised as an inanimate object. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's scary, but it's also kind of fun. You know what I mean? It's really good. It's a horror game. It's so fun. And basically, why are you doing all this though, right? What's the premise? Why would you be doing all this? You might be asking. Oh, well, it's very simple. You're trying to get medicine for your puppy. Your puppy needs medicine, and you need to take care of your puppy. Yeah. I think it tracks. I mean, I love my doggos. I love my doggos. I love Labradors. Love Labradors. You remember, Coach? You remember the Labradors?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Labradors. You love the Labradors. I love German Shepherds, Cane Corsos, right? They're just adorable. They're just so adorable. Yeesh. They're just so adorable. But yeah, that's the reason why you're doing all this crazy stuff, and it is so fun. It is so fun. And you could buy like new weapons or new new little what's it called? Knickknacks to kind of spruce up the store a little bit because you have a store rating you have to keep up, right? So when people, I'm just still sharing here. Give me 1 second. But when people, Joab says, "Good morning, Banger Nation." Good morning, Joab. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. But yeah, when people basically, people need aesthetic. There's like an aesthetic thing that you have to kind of like appease in there too. So you have to like manage the store, manage the supplies, manage all that, right? And at the same time, you have to make sure that you're not being invaded by evil, doppelgangers and stuff like that. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's called Shift at Midnight. It's an indie game that people have been making that has been in the making for quite a while. Casey Boy says KIDZ. Most definitely, Casey. We will definitely take a look at that. I'm just sharing everything up right now. But yes, we will take a look at that real quick. All right, we're going to take a look at KIDZ. We'll take a look at LGHL and EDBL, which has been moving around quite a bit. So we're going to see what goes on there. We'll see what goes on right there. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. Boom. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right, there we are. There we are. All right, all right, all right. Ooh. All right. There we are. Bop right there. Boom. All right. Let me post this over here. All right. And then we should be good to go, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, how was your weekend, ladies and gentlemen? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, man. I got to have some fun doing that. It was rainy on Saturday, on Sunday, I think, but it was actually beautiful on Saturday. So we coach DBL Mom's Mama Money. We all decided to like go to the beach. We also went to Longhorn Steakhouse. It was really good. It was a good way to end out the week. Nice, nice. You know what I mean? It was nice. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, man. We got to go out, have some dinner, or excuse me, some lunch. We had the shrimp. We had the shrimp, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, it was like a shrimp boat thing. It was like breaded shrimp with like this really delicious ranch type sauce. It wasn't really ranch. It was like I don't know what it was, but it was a really delicious type of sauce. And it had like these banana peppers on it, some jalapeno, all sorts of cool stuff like that. But it was really, really good. And then after that, we had these big, giant half-pound burgers right there, and they were so good, ladies and gentlemen. With the French fries, they had like they had the seasoned fries, man. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, that's the good stuff right there. That was the good stuff right there. Ooh. But yes, that was what we had going on there, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we had going on. But yeah, we basically did that. Banger Nation on YouTube. Hello, Banger Nation. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello to the Banger Nation on TikTok. Hello, hello. Yes, sir. All right. There we go. And there we go. And there we go. All right. So we should be good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Let's take a look at LGHL. LGHL. All right, let's take a look at LGHL, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. Yes. All right, so we're going to take a look at LGHL. We're going to take a look at KIDZ for Casey, and then after that, we're going to take a look at EDBL. All right, so let's start off with LGHL. First things first with LGHL. Again, had a nice, wonderful 267% run. 267% run on LGHL. It was a wonderful run right there. Hold on one second. Let me get the graffiti pencil. Bot right there. Shot up like a rocket right there. Boom. And then proceeded to form a bit of a pennant right over here. Boom. All right. That was basically what they had going on right there. All right. And it went up. Boom. Over here. Yeah. All right. So as of now, it needs to break the pennant over here because it shot up to 267%, pulled its way back down, and started consolidating below the VWAP right there at 222. So LGHL needs volume to break the pennant at $2.22 right there. Needs to break that pennant at $2.22. All right, needs to break the pennant and the VWAP at 222 for it to be schmexy to me. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. So it has to break above 222 for it to be schmexy because it's kind of consolidated right below the VWAP right there. But it did have a nice run, 267%. LGHL did have a nice run. Called it on our private Discord prior to its 267% run. Called it on our private Discord prior to its 267% run. Needs volume to break the consolidation and the VWAPA at 222 now. But yes, that's what it's got going on right there. That's what it's got going on. All right, we're going to take a look at KIDZ for Casey. KIDZ. All right, KIDZ, Kids AI Inc. This stock is currently up 25%. American stock. All right, we're going to take a look over here. Zoom in the room a little bit. We're going to zoom in the room. Has a little bit of a resistance right over here at 60 cents, but then it pulled back down. All right, so basically what happened was it went boop right here, had a bit of a resistance right over here at 50 cents right here, pulled back down below the VWAP, climbed back up above the VWAP at 60 cents, and then pulled back down. I think that this could potentially be forming a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. It could potentially be forming a bit of a head and shoulders bear pattern, so I don't entirely trust it. I hope it doesn't. It's really going to need to break above that VWAP at 53 cents, and it's going to have to break above 60 cents for it to really be schmexy to me. So KIDZ, forming a potential head and shoulders bear pattern, needs volume to break the VWAP at 53 cents and needs to break the resistance line at 60 cents as well for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. But it's going to need to break above that potential head and shoulders bear pattern that's forming right there. All right, but it looks like it's forming that head and shoulders bear pattern right here. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't entirely trust it. You know what I mean? So there is that. Hold on, let me actually get my let me get my boop right here. Let me get this over here. Boom. All right. So KIDZ. Yeah, KIDZ. All right. Yep. Looks like it's forming a potential head and shoulders right here. But let's take a look at the float. Let's take a look at the float for it. Float is 2 million and change, which is actually okay. That's not bad. Volume is 44 million, so it has volume. It just really needs to use that volume to break above the VWAP at 53 cents and then break above that little resistance line right over there at 60 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Needs to break that VWAP. It needs to break that 60-cent mark for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Otherwise, it's going to be meh, and you don't want meh, You know what I mean? You don't want that right there. So we're going to take a look over here. KIDZ has to break above that 53-cent mark for me, for it to be somewhat schmexy to me, and has to break above that wonderful, beautiful 60-cent mark right there. But other than that, right, it's not looking too schmexy right now. It needs volume. It needs a lot more volume. It needs the volume to go upward. All right. Now let's take a look at EDBL. EDBL has been shooting up at times and then pulling back, so it's been a bit sporadic, a little bit sporadic, but they do have some news. They're currently up 111%. They ran up a nice 185% right there. All right. So we got that going on right there. So EDBL needs volume, all right, to break above the, all right, and they have share news that their shares are trading higher after the company announced an expansion of its fresh cut herb distribution with Walmart across the Mid-Atlantic oat region. So they got that going on right there. Boba Beef says, what's up to Joab and Casey? All right, so we got that going on. All right, so let me actually put this over here. Hold on. Boom, right there. All right. And then it formed a bit of a descending wedge over here. Needs to break this descending wedge for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. All right. So as of now, shot up over here. Needs to break the descending wedge for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. All right. There we are. There we are. Good, good. All right. So as of now, has to break above the VWAP at $7.47, which is also kind of where the resistance line is. It's at 7.48, but it's pretty much right where the resistance line is. All right, and then it needs to really break this descending wedge and hold above 665 for it to be somewhat schmexy. To me, that is the support line. So it has to hold support, has to break resistance at 747, which is where the VWAP is, and has to break above this descending wedge for it to really be somewhat schmexy to me. So EDBL needs some volume to break the descending wedge and the VWAP at $7.47 for it to be schmexy to me. Needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAP there, but it looks like it's pulled back below 665, so not looking too schmexy to me. All right, but it did have a nice run earlier in the day. I will give it that. Hold on one second. EDBL had a nice run up 185%. That was the run that it had earlier. EDBL, we called it on our private Discord prior to its run up 185%. All right, because it did have a nice run earlier in the day, up 185%. All right. So that was another bagger right there. All right. EDBL needs to break the descending wedge as well. EDBL needs to break above the descending wedge for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. All right. There we go. All right. ENTX. All right. Currently on the uptrend just a bit. ENTX currently on the uptrend. All right, needs to break. Oh, wait, no, it's still climbing. It's still climbing its way on up. Now, this one's an Israeli stock, up 80%. Has news that the Q2 earnings were unconfirmed for in 11 days from now on Friday, August 7th, after market close. So they got that going on right there. So they have some unconfirmed Q2 earnings that should be coming out in 11 days. we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. Let's take a look and see about ENTX real quick. ENTX, EXA. All right, now ENTX has a float of 42 million, so that's a very heavy float. Volume is 13 million right now, so it's currently on an uptrend on some very low volume. So not entirely trusting of that. Not gonna lie to you, I don't entirely trust that because it is moving up on low volume right there. So ENTX on the uptrend on low volume needs volume to climb. Excuse me. Hello you. Turn it off. There we go. All right, needs volume to climb and remain friends with the trend, up 74%. There we go. So we'll see what happens later, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens with ENTX. EXA. All right, there we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So yeah, ladies and gents, that's what we got going on. So be sure to, by the way, show us some love. Show us some love there, ladies and gentlemen, by checking out the wonderful merch store right here that we got going on. We got the merch store. All right, we got the merch store. We got all sorts of wonderful stuff at the merch store. We got the merch store link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments section. So be sure to check it out and get yourself some merch. We got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got all sorts of cool stuff like that. We've got lids, we've got wonderful cup and handles. We got all that good stuff right there. All right, we got some lovely stickers. We got the mouse pads. We got all that cool stuff. We got tumblers, all that wonderful, beautiful stuff right there. So yeah, be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check that out. And also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Be sure to check that out. Click the link in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, to check it out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Yes. All right. Yes. All right. And then, of course, be sure to check out our new 3-month deal that we got going on that charges at a discounted rate of $66.67 per month, charged quarterly. So be sure to check that out as well, because that is a limited time deal that we are currently doing. So be sure to get it while supplies last, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to get it while supplies last, because, you know, there won't be a it's not a forever thing, you know, it's a limited time thing. So yeah, be sure to get that as well. Be sure to get that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Now, as we were saying, all right. Hold on 1 second. There we go. All right. As we were saying now, LGHL ran up 267%. That was the high. All right. So we had that going on right there. And then we got over there. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. We also have over here. Oh, hold on. Hold that thought. MTNB. We're going to take a look at MTNB. All right, MTNB. Not looking schmexy to me. Currently on a bit of a downtrend right there. A little bit of a downtrend, not looking schmexy. Needs volume to break that downtrend right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Needs to break that VWAP as well at 43 cents. Needs to break that VWAP. MTNB needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA. Alright, at 43 cents for it to be schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. Alright. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what we got going on. Okay. Alright. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 300. 300. Alright. Alright. One second. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to show some love there, right there. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to a nice 300. 300. Alright. Yes. Got all that going on right there. Alright. Hold on one second. Alright. Let's get that share party going to 400. Alright. Hold on one second. Boom. Right there. Alright. There we are. Alright, so LGHL, what's it doing right there? LGHL, oh my. Seemed to have curled up a little bit off the pennant slightly, but it still needs volume. It still needs to break that 220 mark right there. It's trying to curl a little bit. Off the pennant right there. Just a little, but it really needs volume for it to be so much mexy to me. Alright, that's LGHL. LGHL trying to curl slightly above the pennant, needs volume to break the VWAP at 220. Alright, but it's trying to curl above that pennant. But again, it's one of those stocks that really needs some volume. EDBL has it holding up. It's curling above that descending wedge right there and breaking through the VWAP a little bit. It's testing the VWAP actually. And curling slightly off the descending wedge right there. It's curling off the descending wedge. Needs to break that VWAP. It's testing it right now. EDBL. Alright, currently curling off the descending wedge and testing the VWAPA right there at $7.39. At $7.39 right there. So it's currently testing that high a day right there. We'll see what happens right there. It's currently testing the VWAP, not the high a day. The VWAP at 739. Needs to break above 739 and stay above 739 for it to be schmexy to mya. Alright, let's take a look at DFNS. DFNS currently formed a bit of a pennant. So it had a bit of a climb, a bit of a slight climb going on over here. Let me get the graffiti pencil out. Boom, right there. And then formed a bit of a pennant right here. just above the VWAP temporarily and then pulled back below the VWAP. So it has to break above the VWAP at 698 for it to be schmexy to me. That's DFNS, and DFNS has a 780,000 float, 18 million volume right there. So it's going to need some serious volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Needs to break that pennant right there and needs to break above 698. Which is the VWAP right there. So B needs to break above those things. So DFNS needs volume to break the pennant and the VWAP. Excuse me. Yeah, the VWAP at 698 at $6.98 for it to be schmexy to mya. Needs to break that pennant, ladies and gentlemen. Needs to break it right there. All right. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. MTNB. Let's see what that's got going on. Trying to curl off the downtrend a little bit. Trying to curl off that downtrend slightly. We'll see what happens with it. Has to break above the VWAP right there. So we'll see what goes on. MTNB needs, all right. MTNB trying to curl above the VWAP. Needs to break the 43-cent resistance right there. VWAP. Needs to break that 43-cent VWAP right there for it to be schmexy to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. All right, all right, all right. Hold on 1 sec. 1 sec. All right. Yeesh. Hold on 1 second. All right. There we are. All right, we're good. We're good. I thought something was amiss. All right, there we are. All right, let's get a share party going. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going on. Let's get to a nice 500, 500, 500, 500. All right, there we go. Let's get to 500, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 500. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, let's take a look. Let's take a look over here. ENTX. How's ENTX doing? ENTX went up, pulled back down. Which, yeah, I kind of suspected. Again, it was a heavy float, low volume type stock. So it was moving up on some low volume. I didn't exactly trust it for a reason. Like I hope it goes up, but at the same time it's like, you know what? It's pulling back. You know what I mean? I know it's gonna pull back because it's like a heavy volume, light float stock. So it was only a matter of time until it really pulled back. But it's forming a bit of a descending wedge right now. Needs to break above the VWAP at $3.22. Again, they have some unconfirmed Q2 earnings due in 11 days on August 7th after the market close. So they have that going on right there for ENTX. ENTX formed a descending wedge. Needs volume to break the VWAP at $3.22 for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. So that's what they got going on right there. That is what they got going on. All righty. All right. Ooh. Ooh. There we go. That was a nice stretch right there. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's actually go to the requests. Let me see what we got for requests over here. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a stock you guys want to see, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Put it in the chat. All right. So let's take a look over here. LGHL Someone requested it. We'll take a look at it again. LGHL. All right. LGHL ran up nicely earlier in the day, ran up a nice 267%. All right, now it is currently trying to curl above the pennant right there. Needs to really break that VWAP right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. To look somewhat schmexy to me. That's what we got going on right there. Needs to break this VWAP. It's trying to curl its way up slightly. Needs to really break that VWAP right there. So LGHL still trying to curl off the pennant. Needs to break the VWAP at $2.20 right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's LGHL. LGHL still needs to break that VWAP. All right. Someone requested DFNS, Delta Foxtrot November Sierra. All right. Needs to break that descending wedge right there. DFNS needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAP at $6.98. All right. So DFNS needs to break the VWAP at $6.98 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. All right. BIYA, Bravo India Yankee Alpha. BIYA. All right. BIYA currently on the uptrend right now. A little bit on the uptrend, slightly. Bit of a choppy uptrend, but it is slowly climbing its way on up. It is currently up 53%. It is a China stock as well, so I don't entirely trust it. It does have a bit of a consolidation point right over here at 298. A little bit of consolidation over at 298, so it needs to break above 298, which is a resistance line for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So BIYA choppy on the uptrend right there. We're going to take a look over here. 3 million float, 12 million volume right there. BIYA up 53%. 53%. Choppy. Uptrend. Needs volume to break above the resistance line at $2.98, and it looks like it's trying to curl its way on up above that. Let's see if it can hold above 298. It's at 299 right now. That's good, but it really needs to hold above that area for it to be so much schmexy to me, because if it just hits 299 and then goes back to 298 and then goes back to 299, it's like, okay, cool. That's a good sign, but you need to like kind of follow through there. You know what I mean? In my opinion, that's just my opinion right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is my opinion right there. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at LGCL. LGCL. Someone requested LGCL. Let's take a look over there. Very choppy as of now. Lots of chop going on right there. Lots of chop. Take a look over here. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Hold on. Let me get this. Boom. All right, choppy here, choppy there, and choppy there. Very, very choppy. More chop over here and more chop over there, as well as more chop right there. So, that's what we got going on for it, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on right there. And currently, it has formed a bit of a pennant, a little bit of a pennant right there. Little bit of a pennant, but again, I don't entirely trust this one because it's a very low volume stock. LGCL, LGCL is a very low floated stock. Let me actually take a look at the float and volume right here. LGCL. Currently, the stock is 41 million, which is a heavy float, light volume at 1.3 million, called 1.4 million. All right. And yeah, LGCL has a very heavy float, light volume, not looking schmexy to me at all. Very choppy price action and consolidated below the VWAP. LGCL, LGCL, heavy float, and light volume needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA at $1.54. Choppy price action with indecisive wicks and consolidation. Not something I personally like right there. Not schmexy to mya. That's LGCL. LGCL. Let's take a look at SkyQ. SKYQ. Let's take a look at that real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at SkyQ. SKYQ, ladies and gentlemen. SKYQ. Alright, there we are. Sky Quarry Inc. This one is on a bit of a downtrend. Not looking schmexy at all. Not looking schmexy at all. Very choppy with the price action, and it's on the downtrend. Needs to break the VWAP at $4.38 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's what we got going on. Alright, SKYQ. SKYQ. Choppy and on a downtrend. Needs a lot of volume to break the downtrend and the VWAPA at $4.38. $4.38 for it to be so much schmexy to me. Currently, the stock is down 10%. Not looking schmexy at all. Not looking schmexy at all. SBEV. What happened to SBEV? Did it reverse? Did it do a reverse split? SBEV? Hold on. SBEV. What's going on with SBEV? I think it did do a reverse split or an acquisition. One of the two. Give me a second. Let me take a look over here. SBEV. SBEV. Alright. That's not normal. Alright. Its float is 6.2 million. Volume is 9.95 thousand. And it's got to move like that? Yeah, no, it's got to be a reverse split, or it's got to be something else entirely. Hold on, let me take a look over here. Ah, yes. Okay, so they did have a 1-for-4 reverse stock split. They did have that. So that's what SBEV is doing right now. It's a 1-for-4 reverse stock split. The news came out on the 14th of July, but they did approve for a 1-for-4 reverse stock split, and they were trading lower after that. And now they're like at 333% because it's probably not even really 333%. It's probably just the chart adjusting. But yeah, no, I highly doubt that. And I think AMZE might also be another one of those reverse splits right there. So they got some reverse splits going on. So that's what those are. All right, let's take a look in the meantime at EDBL. EDBL. All right, EDBL curling its way on up, breaking the VWAP right there, broke the resistance as well at 748. Needs to break above $8.50 for it to be schmexy to me. There we go. There we go. Hold on. Hold on. Right there. EDBL. EDBL curling up and broke the VWAPA. Needs volume to break the $8.50 resistance line right there. That's the next resistance line. All right. The new $8.50 resistance line. There we go. There we go. All right, all right, all right. Ooh, okay. All right, all right, all right. So yes, needs to break above the $8.50 mark. Again, Edible Garden shares are trading higher after the company announced an expansion of its fresh cut herb distribution with Walmart across the mid-Atlantic region. So that's what they got going on for EDBL. EDBL currently doing its thing right now. But yeah, looking good. Needs to break above $8.50. That is the next resistance line right there. So it has to break above it for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get another share party going on over here. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 800. 800, 800, 800. Let's get to 800, ladies and gentlemen. Let us get to 800. All right. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right. So that's what we got going on right there. Hold on. All right. Let me take a look over here. 1 second, 1 second. All right. Okay. All right. All right. We good there. All right. Be good. Be good. All right. Looks like it's trying to test above that. It's trying to test that $8.50 mark right there. It's currently climbing its way on up to it. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see. We shall see. We shall see. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Let's take a look over here. All right. Let's take a look at EDBL. 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 Whew. Okay. You know, it's climbing its way on up right now. It's climbing its way on up. I just have to look away real quick. But yes, it's currently climbing its way on up right now. This looks amazing right now. It's looking pretty good. Actually, not amazing, but pretty good. I shouldn't say amazing. Let me see over here. Has to break above $8.50. $8.50. So while we're waiting, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to keep an eye on this stock. Have you heard about this thing that's going on? Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta talk to you about this because this is kind of interesting to me. I found out about this. This is the first viral trend that I actually sort of like. All right. Basically, what people are doing is making something called summer ice cream. I don't know fully what it is, but basically, people are making ice cream. They taking like whipping cream and stuff like that, or something like that, like some sort of cream. They're putting it in watermelon, right? And then they're basically making ice cream out of it, which is very interesting. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they do that, but it sounds interesting. Apparently they're like just chopping up like pieces of watermelon, putting it in there. I'm like, oh, that low key looks kind of good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Is it like watermelon ice cream? Is that what the I don't know what that would taste like, but would that even have a flavor? Like ice is okay. I could understand an ice, but like ice cream? I mean, I'm not against the idea, but interesting. I didn't understand that. Did not understand that one. But you know what, man? If it makes people happy, and it's not something that because there are certain types of people who like they'll do these unhealthy trends that are like just oh my god, you know what I mean? Like the cinnamon challenge was one, and I've seen people get injured from that. You know, so the ice bucket challenge is whatever, right? People just pouring cold ice on themselves, presumably on a hot summer day. Wouldn't recommend doing that like on like a winter day, obviously, because that would be bad. But you know, summer, okay, I could understand getting away with it. But you know, now they're making some watermelon ice cream thing, which you know, honestly, I mean, I kind of likes that. I likes that, man. I mess with that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of do mess with that. But that was surprising to me. I literally found that out a little while ago. Like sometimes like I'll see things while I'm like while I'm keeping an eye on X, right? Like I'll just see random things pop up, and that was like one of the many things that popped up was just watermelon ice cream, some sort of viral thing that people are doing where they're just like taking, I don't know what type of cream it is, I don't know, but they're like mixing it up in the watermelon, right? And mixing the watermelon together with it, and they're just making like ice cream out of it, which is very, very interesting to me. I don't know how they do that, but hey, you know what? If it works, it works. If it's delicious, if it makes you happy, good. It looks good too, so good for them. Good for them. All right, let's take a look at some other stock requests that we got going on. Before we do, we're going to take a look we're already looking at EDBL. EDBL has to break above $8.50 for it to be schmexier to me, right there. All right. In the meantime, while that's going on, we're going to take a look at LGHL. LGHL. We're going to take a look at that one real quick. LGHL. 8 million float, 36 million volume right now. Let's get that going on right there. Let's get it going on. Hold on one second. All right. Okay. Honestly, it seems more consolidated, if anything, now. So it curled up a little bit, but then it started consolidating again. So now it's just like, okay, it's still consolidated. LGHL really needs to break the consolidation below the VWAP. LGHL. LGHL needs to break the consolidation. Alright. Below the VWAPA at $2.19 for it to be schmexy to me. Needs to break that consolidation. Alright. There we go. That's what we got going on. Alright. So, there's that, ladies and gentlemen. Alright. DFNS. Let's take a look over here. DFNS. Oh, is somebody calling you, Coach? Oh, I had to cancel it. Yeah, no. But, yeah, no. I think one of our Fortnite friends wants to play with you. Alright. Well, yeesh. But, DFNS, yes, we'll message him. We'll message him. Shoot him a message, say we'll be on, like, later for power play and stuff like that. Yeesh. But, yeah. I was like, woo. But, yes, DFNS currently needs to break that descending wedge right over here still. It still needs to break the descending wedge. Still needs to break above the 698 VWAP right there for it to be so much mexy to me. Other than that, you know what I mean? It needs to still break that descending wedge and the VWAP right there. So DFNS needs to break that descending wedge and the VWAPA for it to be so much mexy to me as well. Alright, at the VWAP at $6.98. $6.98 right there for it to be so much mexy to me. There we go. Alright. Hold on one second. KEEL. Alright. KEL, very choppy, very choppy right there. Very choppy. Alright. Very choppy right there. Choppy over here as well. Not looking too schmexy. Somebody requested that one. Not schmexy to me. Very choppy and low volume. KEL. Choppy. Price action. And low volume right there. Choppy price action and low volume. Not looking schmexy to me. Alright. So, there you go. Right there. Alright. Alright. Let's see here. And ladies and gentlemen, we got 5 minutes until the bell. The bell! It deafens me. We got 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 5 minutes. All right. 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 Yep. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. Someone requested DFNS. DFNS. Still in that descending wedge right there. Still going to need some serious volume to curl up. Still going to need some volume to really curl its way on up right there. All right, DFNS right there. DFNS needs volume to break the descending wedge. Needs volume to break that descending wedge right there for it to be so much maxi to me. That's what we got going on right there. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right. All right. Yeah. Let's take a look back at EDBL. EDBL. I'm going to take a look at it real quick. EDBL. All right. EDBL currently, as of now, needs to break above $8.63. That is the next resistance for it. EDBL. EDBL needs to break the resistance right there, resistance line at 863, curling off the descending wedge. There we go. Yeesh. So we'll see what we got going on over there. We'll see what we got going on. Hold on. Ooh. Oof. All right. All right, all right, all right. Somebody requested SPCX. We'll take a look at SPCX. SPCX. All right. Ooh, SPCX currently on a bit of a downtrend right there. Major downtrend over there for SPCX. Really needs some volume to curl its way on up. It's a very heavy floated stock, very light volume though. SPCX, heavy float and light volume, needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA at 114.
The bell!
17. Oh, the bell! The bell! It deafens me. Yep. Not a fan of this stock because it's kind of meh. We'll see what goes on there. All right. Let's see here. Yeah. Let's take a look. We got incoming bell. The bell. The bell. All right. Let's take a look over here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going as well. Let's get a share party going. Let's get a share party going. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's get a share party going, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 1100, 1100, 1100, 1100. All right. There we go. Okay, let's take a look in the meantime at EDBL. Let's see how EDBL is doing. Excuse me, EDBL. Bop right there. All right, currently still trying to curl. EDBL still trying to curl its way on up. EDBL still trying to curl upwards. So we shall see what goes on there. EDBL. All right. Yeesh. Okay. All right. Ooh, that's the stuff right there. EDBL currently trying to curl its way up. Needs to break above $8.63. $8.63. That is the resistance right there. Needs to break above it for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. We'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens there. In the meantime, let's take a look at some other stocks over here. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Someone requested BIYA. Someone requested BIYA. 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 It had moved on. It had moved quite a bit throughout the past couple of days, but has since pulled its way on up, then dropped its way on back down. It's just pop and drop. So, not looking too schmexy as of now. BIYA popped and dropped like a rock. BIYA. Yeah. Pulled back and needs to break the downtrend. Alright. Right there. Needs to break the downtrend for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. But that's going to be a while because it really needs to break that downtrend. BIYA formed the downtrend. Not schmexy. Not schmexy to mya. Alright. Alright. Okay. So, as of now, let's take a look at LGHL. LGHL formed a bit of a pennant right there. A little bit of a pennant consolidated below the VWAP right there. LGHL needs to still break that pennant and VWAP at 218. Right, LGHL, still needs volume. Still needs volume right there for it to be schmexy to mya. Alright. 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 I'm guessing AMZE is another reverse split right there. Another reverse split. Let's see here. Alright. Alright. Let's take a look over here. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at SBEV. SBEV is, yep, I remember. Yep, that's another one of those stonks right there. LGHL, we just checked out. BIYA, BIYA, BIYA. BIYA is okay. Now sporadically curling above the downtrend. Ooh, okay. All right. So, BIYA now curled off the downtrend. Aggressively curled off the downtrend. I don't entirely trust the stock because it has a 3 million float, 60 million volume. That's great and all, but it is moving very sporadically. All right. BIYA price spike on off the downtrend. Price spike off the downtrend, up 82%, up 82%. All right. All right. All right. So, BIYA, as of now, 94%. Shot up 94% on price spike. All right. 97%, 98%. Can it break 100? Can it? Yes, it can. 102. 102. There we go. All right, all right, all right. BIYA up 102%. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right. Hold on one second. There we are. There we are. There we are. Yeesh. All right. All right. So, as of now, EDBL had a nice price spike going on there. Hit 102, pulled back. And yeah, that's what we got going on right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Alright, so, yeah, that's what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. Alright, and of course, by the way, be sure to check out our merch store. Be sure to check out our merch store. We got all sorts of wonderful stuff. We got all sorts of t-shirts, hoodies, caps, lids, cup and handles, tumblers. We got mouse pads. We got stickers, all sorts of cool stuff. And more coming to the wonderful, wonderful merch store. So be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So, of course, be sure to check that one out. Because, yeah, we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of baggers a lot of times. Alright? And, yeah, be sure to check that out. Be sure to check out our 3-month deal as well. Be sure to check out our 3-month deal as well. Alright, where we do all sorts of cool stuff there. Obviously, the 3-month deal is at a discounted rate of $66.67 per month, charged quarterly. So it's at a cheaper rate. So yeah, you can get that there as well. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check it out. All right, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do all sorts of stock reviews, stock analysis, all sorts of long form and short form videos as well. We got that going on right there, so be sure to check it out. Be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel our X.com, aka Twitter, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do all sorts of live streaming stock reviews and stock analysis there as well. Be sure to check us out on our Twitch at Coaching Money. Our Facebook at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. Be sure to check us out on our TikTok, Tiki-Taki, aka the Tac Tac. The Tac Tac. You can find us there at DBL Nicks. At DBL NICKS, and the screen name is Coach Nick Money. Money. All right, so we got that going on right there. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on our wonderful Instagram and threads at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. At Coaching Money right there. So we got that going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And of course, be sure to join the Coachmeister General at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Power Play. Hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, as he traverses the stock market prior to the Power Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, the Power Hour. All right? And basically, that's what he does right there. Hold on. Ooh, get that stretching. Ooh, that's that good stuff. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, he traverses the stock market prior to the Power Hour. And what he likes to do is he likes to basically traverse the stock market, give his honest review and analysis about each and every one of the stocks right there. And then what he likes to do is he likes to let the stock simmer on high heat with a little bit of paprika, a little bit of sazon, a little bit of cumin, a little bit of turmeric, some lemon pepper steppers, all that good stuff right there. A little bit of tagine, you know what I mean? All that good stuff right there. All that good stuff right there. All right? That's what we got going on. All right. Quick thing before we wrap up. If you guys have been watching and you're serious about trading small caps, don't just sit on the outside trying to piece it together. We've got a 4-day full access pass for only $9.99, as well as a 3-month full access pass right there. And it's full access, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So you come inside, you get to see how we actually operate live. You get to see how we structure trade ideas, how we map levels, how we think about risk, how we handle momentum. You get access to our next day early watch list, as well as the 24/7 market news flow, which is on the right-hand side of the screen, complete with a hyperlink to the article, a synopsis of what goes on within said article, as well as a hyperlink to the ticker affiliated with the news within said article. So you have all that information at the touch of a button, ready to go on our Discord, right? And of course, you get access to the pre-market, regular hours, and after-hours scanners, one of which is actually on the left-hand side of the screen right here. It shows you the ticker, the price, the volume, the float, the change in percentage, whether the stock is moving up or down, as well as the wonderful little bits and pieces of, oh, my BIYA's at 108%. Anyway, sorry about that. Squirrel! All right, anyways. But you get that, as well as the hyperlinks to the tickers on that scanner as well, so you could learn more about the tickers there. So yeah, you got that going on right there. That is what you got going on. All right, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, you got all sorts of catalyst context built right in there, as well as such, you'll also be able to see our ticker tape built to catch stocks from the starting to heat up, but before they go parabolic, also complete with their own hyperlinks. So you got that going on as well. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we don't do noise, we do structure. And if that's how you want to approach this market, grab the 4-day pass and come see it live. The link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments section. When you come inside, let us know you saw us on the stream. We'd love to hear from you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me. It's Double Nicks. I love you guys. I'll see you guys at 1:30 p.m. for Power Play. So be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day.